Hello there, I'm the Biblical Translator, and I call myself that because I paraphrase scriptures from the Bible and try to put it in more user-friendly terms. And I think my audience would be those who are not traditional Christians. Could be the born-again Christians, but not the ones who are Pentecostal and quite rigid. So they might find my videos a bit offensive or not appropriate. So for whoever the message is received, that's who I am doing it for. So today's scripture is Mark 14:66, and it was when Peter denies Jesus. So meanwhile, Peter was in the courtyard below. One of the servant girls who worked for the high priest came by and noticed Peter warming himself by the fire. She looked at him closely and said, "You were one of those with Jesus of Nazareth." Now, I was wondering why her status was relevant. It's obviously relevant because she was a servant girl, so there's no way he could have been intimidated by her. She had no power, she had no authority, yet he did not feel he could be honest with her. And also, she didn't ask him a question. She didn't say, "Are you one of those who were with Jesus of Nazareth?" She actually said, "You are," or "You were one of those who was with Jesus of Nazareth." And despite her being quite certain in her statement, Peter still chose to deny it. But there again, it fulfills the prophecy of denial. She didn't. Okay, so Peter denied it. "I don't know what you're talking about." Convinced, the servant girl began telling others, "This man is definitely one of them." But Peter denied it again. So she wasn't satisfied when he denied it, because she recognized him. And like when you know somebody was at a place, or you recognize them and you're like, "No, you're definitely the person I saw." And then you go and tell your friends and you're like, "You see that guy over there? He was with Jesus, I know him, I recognize him." And yet he's denying it. So she told her friends, but still, he didn't acknowledge. So, and it's like a blatant lie, isn't it? Because you're denying Jesus, who you've been hanging around with for goodness knows how long. And is it because you feel guilty by association? Sometimes when we are with people who are in trouble, is that what we do? We kind of distance ourselves. Somebody's got caught by the police dealing drugs or a robbery or terrorist attack or anything. And, all of a sudden you start thinking, "Oh, I don't want to be associated with him because they might take me up. They might take me in." And all of a sudden our loyalty for our friends or our family members goes through the window, because you don't want to be associated with somebody who is considered a criminal. And they considered Jesus a blasphemer, which was very, it was looked down on. It's a very serious offence. So he felt guilty by association if he was to admit that he knew Jesus. So he denied it. Blatant lies. Can you imagine? Blatant. Anyway, so, but these blatant lies, what does that do for your conscience? I mean, if you denied a friend of yours because they'd been pulled away by the police and you didn't want to be associated with them, what would your conscience tell you? You'd probably convince yourself that it's okay, you did the right thing. "Oh, I've got a family, I've got children, I can't afford to lose my job, I can't afford to be associated with somebody with that kind of reputation." So you distance yourself. All of a sudden, it's about me, and it's not about your friend or your companion or whoever it is. And it's interesting because, is that the sacrifice we are meant to make? Is that the human condition? Would Jesus have expected him to admit or stick with him? We don't know. We didn't get Jesus's opinion on that. So other bystanders also confronted him. This is Peter. You must be one of them because you're a Galilean. And a Galilean, that's another reason why he might not have wanted to be associated with Jesus, because Galileans, they were looked on as kind of not really kosher Christians. They kind of bent the rules. They hung around with Gentiles. They didn't follow the scriptures rigidly. So people tended to look down on them. So that could have been another reason why he didn't want to acknowledge that he was associated with Jesus. Not only was he associated with somebody they just hauled off and they were about to kill, but also associated with him by nationality or the place where they grew up, Galilee, which which wasn't held in high esteem, so to speak. So, what have I got this here? Curse. Oh yeah, can't read my own writing. Yeah, here I've got Galileans were also considered kind of rebels in the sense that they weren't really strict. They didn't really follow strictly the rituals. And Peter said, when they asked him, when they said, you because you are a Galilean, he said, curse on me if I'm lying. That's the extent he's lying. It's like, when people say, my mother's life or my father's life, they make such extreme vows because, to convince somebody that they are not lying. He said, curse on me if I'm lying. I don't know this man that you're talking about. Can you imagine? He goes to that extent to say, curse on me. That means you can do anything bad to me if I'm lying. But he was lying. But the fact that he said that is almost like it's trying to convince the other person that he's speaking the truth. It must be a case of mistaken identity. I don't know if people from Galilee dressed differently. I'm not quite sure how they knew it was him, but the fact of the matter is he felt it was necessary to lie and deny Jesus. And as soon as he did, the third time, the rooster went, ooh, 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 or whatever noise they make. So, I'm just going through the scriptures and seeing what daily inspiration I get. And then I share that with my followers, my subscribers, my whatever I call you, my friends. And I do hope you find them useful. If you do find them useful, you can see it's a very, very new channel. I feel inspired to do these videos. I'm really enjoying doing them. So it would really be helpful if you shared them with like-minded people. Not everybody's going to get it. Not everyone's going to appreciate what I talk about. We have a lot of traditional Christians who think what I'm talking about is a load of tosh. But you will have some people who can relate to what I'm saying. And those are the people I'm looking for. Those are the people I'd like to follow me and give me some kind of inspiration and encouragement that I'm on the right track. And I think that's all for now. I've got a very, very bad sore throat. Well, it's not even a sore throat. I've come down with something. I'm trying to fight it with cloves and bay leaves and all sorts. A little bit of hot pepper, a little bit of ginger, all of the things that they say you're meant to take when you're not feeling well. But I'm fighting it nonetheless, and every day is a new day, and I give thanks that I'm waking up in the land of the living another day. And I've got all my faculties, I've got all my senses, I've got my extremities. What more could I ask for? I've got a roof over my head. I've got a job. I've got a loving partner. I've got a pseudo-supportive family in degrees. So, it's absolutely wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful, and I'm totally grateful, and I feel blessed. So, remember, we're going into the new year. Remember, your resolution should be one of acceptance, because once you accept, you're filling yourself with love, and you don't get those feelings of rejection and disappointment that you would normally get. So fill your arena with love, and hopefully